Thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm so excited. This has been a year in the making for us. I think when we originally spoke about this at Cannes in Cairns, I loved getting to know you. I loved your passion behind what we're trying to achieve. And you were like, Chloe, we're going to have to see, but we'll make this happen. And I genuinely believed you in that moment. I didn't feel like you were fobbing me off. I was like, this woman is going to make this happen. And I think like a year later, you were like, yeah, we're in, we're ready. We've got all the approvals. We're ready to go. So thank you for jumping over all the loopholes that we have to be here today. And thank you for believing in the cause and what we're trying to achieve. I kick off every session with the first question, which is, what is your superpower and why is it important to you?
Well, firstly, I will answer the question, but Chloe, thank you so much for having me. I'm a big fan, and I think what you have done since I met you a year ago and where you are today, it's just incredible and an inspiration for all of us. And thank you for bringing so many women together to really talk about the things that worry us and things that don't worry us but makes us happy. So thank you and congratulations for everything you're doing. So my superpower, I think, is connecting with people and genuinely connecting with people, like building relationships for the long term. I feel, as you get older and you look back in your life and all the different people that have touched you and all the different people that have come part of your life. And when I look at my own life and seeing how many people from all my lives that I have had so far, I'm still connected with. They're so important to me, and I continue to work on those relationships. I feel like that's my superpower. I truly care about the people that come to my life and do my absolute best to be there present for them always.
I love that. You just said something I really enjoyed, which was all the lives that I've had so far. What does that tell me that? I love this.
Oh, God, I don't know if I'm just thinking about, I guess I'm not 20 anymore, but I was born in Colombia. Of course, I went to school, then I went to uni, and I think that's two different lives there. Right, your friends from school, which I adore today. Then my friends from uni, and going through uni, I did a bachelor in business management, and it was loved it, right? I really enjoy it. But after I graduated, I worked for a year, and then I left the country. And when you move to a new country, which at the time was Australia, it was a big change, and then you have all your roots and friends and family back home, and you kind of start again. I was really lucky that when I moved to Australia, my godparents live here. They still do. I adore them, Armando and Amparito, and they were here for me. But everybody else was new to my life, pretty much. So it's not a new life, but I have grown non-afraid of starting new lives and trying new things and be really open to opportunities. And from there, I had different jobs. I moved countries with the company I currently work for. So I have lived in France. I have lived in Singapore. I spent a lot of time in the UK. My husband is British. My daughter was born in France. So I do feel incredibly lucky that and grateful. It's really about gratefulness that the different lives that I have been so enriching, but also that I have been brave enough to really go after those opportunities that could look quite scary. Especially, Singapore, spending time in the UK, even coming to Australia. However, that's a different story. I didn't speak English at the time.
Oh, wow.
But France is like no French, and it's still very, very basic. I studied it every day. So I think even building relationships where you don't even speak the language, right? And the people that I got to work with while I was in France, they were lovely, but you have to live outside of your four walls and start to get to know more people. So I'm very grateful with all the people that have come through my life, but I'm also very grateful for having been brave and having a family, particularly my husband, that have supported me to do crazy stuff, travel the world, go to new countries just by ourselves, and being happy and some things are always great, but some things are probably not that great, and you just learn about them and move forward.
Creating relationships with people when you don't speak the language, that's almost given you an additional skill when you do speak the language, right? You're almost like you're learning to read people in a completely different way.
Completely. And when you don't speak the same language, or when you're learning it, particularly when I came to Australia and I was learning English, you actually, without the intention, you kind of have to get to be a better listener. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to communicate. So you pay more attention to what people are saying. And I mean, at times I made up lots of words. I remember I had a Colombian friend very close to me at the time. And I remember she said to me, you just keep making words and people seems to understand you. And I was like, I probably just truly make it up. But you know that need to communicate. And that's just a human thing. It's like we love to communicate, we love to connect, so whatever it takes. And well, eventually I'm still learning English every day, but eventually when you start to realize I actually can do a whole sentence in English or a whole sentence in French, that's actually pretty extraordinary. But the learning is endless, and it should be the way, particularly when it comes to languages or anything else.
What was it like not being able to, because I'm very blessed in terms of like English is global language. I've never had to invest. You know, I tried to learn GCSE French and it was a tragedy. I was so bad at it. I just want to understand the mindset of what it's like for people coming into a country and not speaking the language. Because if I think about this podcast being about helping people in their workplace, how can we help the people that are coming in and English isn't their first language, and how can we support them, and what do they need?
It's a great question. And look, I can only speak for Australia. Having like English was here my big kind of change in terms of language, because when I went to France, I literally could speak English all day, and I had a global role at the time, so I traveled quite a bit. But when I came here, I think Australians are really welcoming and very patient. So that's nothing on me. I just felt that people made an effort to listen to what I was trying to say. You'll make a million mistakes, and what you just have to be comfortable. I never forget where my godparents live. I used to take the bus outside. There was a bus stop, and I will get on the bus, and I didn't speak English, but I will hear the people in front of me saying, "Good morning, mate." And I will just repeat it. You kind of try to go with the flow, and I will repeat it. And I remember the driver change, and then he's like, "Good morning, mate." And I'm like, "Another Mike?" I don't understand how every driver is called Mike, right? And it sounds really stupid now. And I remember telling my godparents, "There's a new driver called Mike," and they were like laughing pretty much on the floor. And it's like, "No, they're saying mate. Yeah. Good morning, mate," right? And you're like, "Oh my God, I am so silly. I can't believe I didn't work out that." But when you don't know, you don't know. And if I'm telling you this story, you're like, "Naysla, come on, how do you didn't understand that?" Because you just have said that all your life. But people are patient, and you can tell these stories, and it also comes about being comfortable with asking questions and sharing with someone. I just went through this and I didn't understand it. But going back to Australia, I think people are very patient and generous here with immigrants, and hence the population that we have of first or second generation immigrants in the country. I think the government, and this is just, it wasn't my case because I got to study really, like I got into an English course and then into validating my degree here. So I got into study really quickly and working. So the more you immerse yourself in what you need to do, the more you learn, right? Practice makes the master, and that's true on anything we do in life. If you want to be great at something, just do it and do it and do it and repeat it and keep doing it, and you're going to be brilliant. So I immersed myself, but I do remember being amongst people that their English was even probably less than what I was. And the government, I remember at the time, offers so many courses, like at no cost, people could go and learn English. Like the government really makes an effort here for people to speak the language, because it's important, right? For the economic growth. If everyone speaks, if everyone can get a job, it's good for the country, right? So as accepting as the country I felt have been, they also have enabled a lot of that. I didn't take advantage of that because I came into a journey that was, I need to work, I need to study, I need to pay for my bills. But I do feel the country enables that. France was a little bit different, for sure. I mean, I was already, I guess, a little bit more advanced in my career. I had a great job there. My leader was based there, and so I had his support right away. But it was harder to live outside. I feel that it was harder to try to speak French and not being understood. That created a lot more stress, I think, than when I was here, funny enough. And that's what I put it. Like, I study French every night for 10 minutes. I put that as I don't want to forget the little French I learned, but I certainly didn't get to that level as I managed to get here in Australia, and I think was the patience of the people.
Oh, that's really nice to hear. That makes me feel happy. You saying about making up words and people understanding what you're saying. I remember going to a training once, and it was about like the importance of communication and how I think it's like, don't quote me on these stats, but something ridiculous like 3% is the words that you're saying, 70% is body language, and I can't remember what the exact stats was, but when you were saying about making up the words, then I was like, that is exactly what cute, because I'm listening to you now and I can feel your energy coming across the table, and we could be talking about anything, but I feel you pulling me in, like you're magnetic, and I love to listen to that. What you're saying about multiple lives, we went to Mel Robbins last week together, which was fabulous and interesting. One of the things that she said at the end, like, because I actually had to see it 3 times, right? So this is by
you memorize it.
Yeah, this is by the 3rd time. But she didn't say it in any of the other sessions. And her last line was, the best version of you hasn't even been created yet. So you've not met her. And I loved that as a concept. So pairing that with the multiple lives that you've lived and saying the best version of both of us hasn't even been created yet. We haven't even created her. That hit me quite deep.
I love it. I think you nail it. I think it's not that we want to reinvent ourselves all the time, but at least from my perspective, how sad it will be if we look back and we didn't learn anything in what we did, and we didn't appreciate the failures that we went through or the sad moments that we went through, and take that forward and try to do things better. And one of the areas that I spend a lot of time is just trying to be a better leader. I don't find it that easy. Like, as a leader, you don't want to be the one in charge. You just want to be in charge of the people, right? Look after the people that are in your team. And everybody's so different, right? And I learned so much and also from my leader, actually. She's absolutely brilliant. But the reflection, the moment of how could I do this better? And that's exactly what I think she means is we haven't met that person yet, because there is always something that is going to come into our life that is going to make us reflect, I probably could do this better. And I learned that this way, or this person taught me that. And I do hope that we get to 100, 150, and we're still learning, Chloe. And we're still reflecting on the things that we could do better. Because imagine how boring our life will be if everything we did was perfect. If we didn't see failure or sadness or every emotion that makes a human being human and emotionally connected with everyone, it'll be a very boring place. But the important thing of that, and I think what Mel Robbins wanted to say at the time, is you do have to have self-reflection. You can just not ignore the moments that give you a lesson, that give you something that makes you better or makes you reflect on how you're doing things. If we ignore everything and we don't self-reflect on what we could do differently or how we could be better, or it's not even about performance or being better in the sense of good or bad. It's just ultimately it's happiness, right? It's what makes us feel comfortable. I think when you arrived today, you were saying about the day that you had yesterday that you felt so content. That's an important day to remember. Why were you so content yesterday? What was it about the day that made you feel so in control of everything and so happy? And try to replicate those days for the years to come.
You just hit me quite hard then saying that in a good way, because I would describe myself as someone who previously was never content. I was always chasing the next thing. I was always thinking, I lived in the future, right? Like I was pretty good at not living in the past, but I was really bad at living in the future and not being present. And for someone to just describe me as content and for me to go, oh, I think she's right, shows the self-reflection journey that I've been on in terms of living in alignment with what's going to actually make me happy. And as I said, yesterday nothing crazy happened. There wasn't big news, but I was like, this is the life that I want to live. Like, and I'm so content in this space. So thank you for telling me that, because it's a running joke with my friends at home that I'll never be content.
It was a perfectly normal day, right?
Yeah.
That there was no highs or lows. It's just a day that you just feel so at ease. And we all need that.
Yeah.
But the thing about you, Chloe, and I'm not turning this into you, but the thing about yourself that really impacted me positively is, I think we all know your story, or at least the woman and men and anyone that has come close to you. The first time we met, you told me your story. And every time we kind of run into each other or you meet someone new, they get to learn your story. And that's bravery, I think. And also is giving us all the possibility that if we don't talk about things that don't go as we planned them, because we don't know what the future is going to bring. We just definitely don't know. We have to be brave to share how we feel and ask for help and ask for support. And I think from my perspective, that's when relationships really matter. Because when you have people in your life that you can really trust, that you can talk about anything, doesn't matter where they are. They can be on the other side of the world in Colombia, or it can be my beautiful leader who is sitting like 2 meters away from me, that I can just go into her office and have a conversation. Is that I hope everyone that is listening is thinking, who is that one person or 100 people that if today I'm having a bad day, or I receive news that I probably wasn't expecting, or whatever it is, or actually you got the best news in the world and you want to celebrate, that you have those people to call, and that they're going to be so happy for you, and that they're going to or be there for you if it's a difficult circumstance. And I hope that everyone spends time really building those relationships. As I said, it can be one person, but you do need people close to you that will take you through the good and the bad days.
And investing in those. Like
Absolutely.
I spoke to
and vice versa.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be there for them as well. It's a win-win relationship. It's like we're 2 or 3 or 4 in this relationship, and we all need to be there for each other.
And you've got to realize it's an investment, right? Like you have to invest. You don't want to over-index in people that are not going to, return serve, but you have to be willing to invest in people for them to be willing to invest in you as well, I think. Like I've got a friend, Remy, I'll name her, but she's just so giving, and she's so the person that in every moment she turns up, and if shit's hitting the fan, she's there. She's got a plan. She's like making it fun. And if anything ever goes wrong with her, there are so many of us that are indebted to her that she would have an army of people around her ready to support her. And I think sometimes we can think, oh, I haven't got anyone around me. But start at the point of who are the people that you really want to invest in first, not with the intention of getting it back, but knowing that they're good people and they would be there for you too is such an important part. You mentioned happiness, and I was talking to someone last night about the pursuit of happiness, because I think there's something
Good movie.
it is a very good movie, but that there's something really fun about enjoying the journey of hitting your goals rather than just constantly fighting to get to the end point and then go, what was that for? Why was I chasing that? What does happiness look like to you? And what does a content day look like to you as well? Let's see what happiness and content look like for you.
Yeah, it's actually a very difficult question to define what happiness is to me. I at the moment I feel incredibly content, but it's not that I am free of worries. I worry about my family's health. I worry about what's happening in the world, like because we care, Chloe, about feel deeply. If a friend is going through a difficult time, my best friend from school in Colombia just recovered from breast cancer, and I had a year of worrying every day. I will call her every second day, every day, and checking on how she is. So the day that she told us she was cancer-free, it seriously is like one of the happiest days in my life. But I try to look at happiness in the way of not these big goals, but more basic things. Like I always start with, I'm very grateful for health. I do feel that if you have good health and bad memory, that's the first recipe for happiness. And I explain that health, if we have our health and if we look after ourselves and we look after others, like my daughter, for example, is essential for happiness, health. Mental health and physical health. But then the part about the bad memory, and actually this came from one of my other best friend from school moms that used to say that to us when we were little, and is if we stay into the things that didn't go well, or the person that did this to us, or that make us feel this way, and we always have that resentment, you just never move forward. So the best thing is like that bad memory, that you forget the things that maybe didn't go that well and just focus on the great things that are happening in your life. Happiness, it evolves from a career perspective. Like, of course, we have goals. I remember the time that I want to get promoted. I want to get there. I want to get there. Now it's a little bit different. Like, my daughter is in year 9. I love to move forward in my career, but I feel like she is the priority at the moment. I personally would love to move overseas again with the company I work for. I have worked with them for a long time and love to probably go back to Europe at some point.
Oh, nice.
So that could look like, that'll be amazing. I'll be so happy if I probably try to get another level within the organization and go overseas and I used to have a lot of global roles. The role that I do now is a just Australia, New Zealand role. Love to go back to global roles. Because of the same superpower we talked about it before in terms of that connection with people. Of course, you can imagine how excited I feel about global roles and dealing with so many different countries. So when I think about it, I feel excited. So I guess that's I feel like I will be happy doing that. But I'm super content at the moment knowing that the priority is my daughter. She needs to go through high school. So instead of waiting for this to happen, who knows if it's even going to happen? What is it, the little things that make me happy? The connection with my team, the connection with my family, the connection with my friends. So I have grown to enjoy more the everyday moments. And that's another lesson I learned in life, which will never forget it. It was a week. I was here in Australia. I used to live in Singapore. And I remember I was so tired. It was like Monday, Tuesday. I was really exhausted. And I was thinking, can't wait for Friday. Can't wait for Friday. I think all that week I went to waiting for this Friday. And on that Friday, my dad had a stroke. And I remember thinking, I waited, I was so not happy with the week. I was exhausted. I was stressed. I'm waiting for this Friday. And I got probably one of the worst news ever to receive because my dad was in Colombia at the time. We have to get on a plane with my husband and go home and be by my dad who recovered at the time. But I learned that time I'm never going to go, I can't wait for Easter, or I can't wait for June holidays, or I'm just going to enjoy today, because it might not be a perfect day, but there will be something about today that will make me happy. And if a day is really stressful, I try to think about what's worrying me. So stop for a second and think, what is it that I'm worried about? What is it so stressful? If I can control, if it's just a lot of work, well, prioritize, go, or even if it's personal, right? I feel like I go to work a lot, but whatever it is that is worrying you, well, if I can control it, if I can fix it, let's just get into it. Let's don't panic. If I cannot, then I shouldn't just worry, right? It's like count backwards and you are worrying about that something that has not even happened. So try to focus on what I can quite control. And then when I am having, like what I was going to say before, is if I'm having a difficult day or a stressful day, sometimes I just try to think about recent things that make me really happy. So for example, yesterday I got to spend the evening with 3 of my closest friends, and we had the most amazing evening. We were laughing. I was looking at the videos last night, laughing, being silly, being so authentic. You know, when everyone just is just themselves. I just love it. So I do that a lot. Is just if you're worried today and sad, just remember something that makes you really happy, and even if it was just last night or the weekend. So I think we need to help ourselves sometimes, because worrying makes you sick and it doesn't do any good to anybody. And in fact, a lot of that worry we transmit it to others. So then we create that worry into others, or pass that worry into others. So look, as I said, I think this is exactly the conversation we had before about the different lives and how you, like if I look at myself 20 years ago, I probably would have said that person, don't worry, it'll be fine. I'd be like, I'm super stressed, I can't relax. But now I go back to that girl and say, like, it was going to be fine. You were worried about unnecessary things. But now you're here, you have control of how you can transmit that, like, non-stress approach to dealing with a situation, or just be happy that the day is going really well.
It's almost like life experience has taught you the importance of glimmers.
Yeah.
Like my friend was talking to me about the difference between like everyone's so focused on triggers. Oh, that triggered me. But actually, what are our glimmers? Like what are our 10 things that we know are micro for us that are like, that's going to make me happy? Like one of mine is driving in my car on my own, blasting the music, singing along. Another weird one I've got is I love washing my hands. So like I buy nice soaps and I just take a little moment to pause and give myself a little hand massage when I wash my hands. Like trying to create those like brief moments of stillness in the chaos that we live upon. And I feel like that's what you're saying. Like you're like, you know what your glimmers are and you're practicing gratitude for them, which I think is beautiful.
I love that.
Your point around health as well is so important. Like that quote around there's someone in a sick bed right now desperate for the problems that you have. Like really, I try and remind myself like that when I'm, panicking about like the podcast has not been edited the way, or whatever it is that is focusing. So I think your dedication to health is such an important point to land there.
I have to caveat, however, that I could do a lot more for my health. Like in saying it, people will think she's mega healthy, but I'm not.
You look mega healthy.
I actually don't do any exercise, which is a real problem. So I really need to. I tried to go to start it this year actually, and then I stopped. So in saying that, I have to be honest that I think I could do more for my health, but health is definitely the thing that will worry me the most if it's lacking in my life or in the people close to me.
So do you remember the bit from Mel Robbins where she spoke about, she obviously did that timeline of all the different weeks that we have in our life from 0 to 100, right? It was quite full on. But she said, tell me what your life's like now and I'll tell you what your future looks like in 5 years' time. So with that in mind, if you're saying I'm not exercising and health is the most important thing to you, if we fast forward, let's go 10 years. What 10 years looks like with not prioritizing the self-care, not prioritizing the exercise, what would that look like for you if you carry on going as you are?
Very good in terms of health, because I think my bones, I know already that they're not that strong. So I do need to, it's not about fitness, it's about bone strength, particularly for women. And my doctor has spent a lot of time talking about this. So that's what I started this year, was that bone density training. I just need to continue it because I actually think that if I don't look after my bones, I'm going to fall and I'm going to break. And that's not good for anybody, definitely not good for me. So I have to do something about it. So it's interesting. Maybe I talk to you at another time, maybe in a year time, and you will ask me, Chloe, Naysla, how did you go with that exercise? But it's something that I keep pushing away. I go to the doctor. I'm very good about going to the doctor, checking myself, just checking how everything's going. But just that piece of the exercise has been there for a while. I don't eat unhealthy or it's the exercise. So I don't think it's very bright if I look 5 years from now or 10 years from now. Let's go back to that chart. Although I have to tell you something funny. Sorry, I'm deviating here, but I have to tell you something funny about that chart. When he put that, this is getting to 100 years, right? That's how she presented, right? This is all the weeks from 1 to 100, right? And when she put the slide, I said, gosh, that's very little. I felt it was not a lot. And there was this wonderful lady sitting next to me who was part of your guest list. And she said, that's a lot. That's a lot. And I thought that was really interesting how someone felt, my goodness me, that's a really long life. And I felt it's not enough. And how everyone can see things differently. I don't know, seeing your life in one slide with a lot of dots was a little bit tricky for me, but for other people was like, I want to live 100 years. It was a very interesting reaction from people at the time. How did you feel?
I felt the same as you. I know her point of the slide was like, look how much time you have.
Yes.
I looked at it and was like, oh my goodness, I'm already halfway through all my dots. I'm already halfway through my life. It was more of a trigger than a glimmer for me.
I feel exactly the same. I'm like, wow, I'm here. It's not a lot left. I have to make the most of it. But again, back to that positivism and kind of how do you make thank you for showing me. I now need to take this slide and think about back to the exercise, like how do you want to live the next 50 years, right?
Yeah. And how many more lives do I want to have within that? Like for me, it was kind of like my friend described it to me once as life is like a patchwork quilt, and you want to make your patchwork quilt really, really interesting. So you want loads of different color, loads of different patterns. And every time you make a big, bold decision and do something new, you're adding, like when you were in France, you're adding that kind of like French looking patchwork quilt. And then when you move to Australia, you're adding another one. And when you have for family, you're adding another one. And like, what are all these like really rich experiences that are building out this beautiful quilt at the end? So whenever I'm like a little bit anxious around or should I jump and make this decision? It's like, whether it's a good patchwork quilt or a poor one, it's gonna look different, and that's what's gonna make it look really beautiful at the end when you look at the longevity of life.
Absolutely.
I am gonna make you come back to the health thing because you used the word avoid, right? You said, I know I'm avoiding it, and then it was really funny because then you switched conversation to avoid talking about it.
Okay, I can talk about it.
So we're going again.
I think probably you're right. It's something that I just probably a bit apologetic, right? And a bit of shame, like why you haven't done something about it. And I have friends, people around me. My husband, super fit, cycles, goes to the gym. My daughter plays sports, goes to the gym. What is it about me and exercise? All my life, by the way, this is not new. But please ask me.
Well, I think it's really interesting that you're talking about, you're using quite interesting language around it, right? You've just used the word shame for not doing it. And you've just said your whole life you've never done it. So for me, it comes down to identity. Like you don't identify as someone who exercises. So I think there's like a real core thing in there around identity in terms of why. But why do you think you're avoiding this? Because what I love, right, is you're educating yourself around it. You understand the importance of it. You're talking about your bone density. So, and you've said to me that health is the number one. When I said to you, like, what's happiness? You said health, right? You were so clear, but yet your actions aren't aligned with your
absolutely.
theory.
And that's what I call it out to say as important as it is to me. And I really like health is one of the things. Like if something is, I'm not feeling well or anything, like I will go and see a doctor, right? Like I think those essential basic things are there. But equally, I had to recognize, I feel it will be terrible that a lot of people that know me goes, well, Naysla, health is number one, but you, seriously, and some just actually laugh about the whole thing, but I don't do anything about it. And I think, Chloe, I am so conscious that I have to do more about it. Like, that's the reality of this conversation. And it's getting bigger, the conversation, because of my bone density. And like, I know it's super important. And I think why I haven't prioritized, well, I genuinely don't enjoy it, right? Like, I don't enjoy it. Even when I started this year, finished completely exhausted. And at the end, I pushed myself too hard and I got into another problem. But I don't think I enjoy the routine of it. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm prioritizing other things. It can be work, it can be family, and at times it can be resting. That's probably another thing about health. It's just not about the exercise. But the second piece that I think I'm doing much better than the exercise is the resting, is the sleeping.
Great.
I think I had a lack of commitment with my sleep. I'm a very late person. I can work very, very long hours or do whatever it is late. So definitely there has been some step change in looking after myself more from a resting, sleeping, stopping, just doing nothing and feeling completely comfortable with it's absolutely okay to be sitting here doing nothing and reading or listening to music or whatever it is, which I didn't have before. I think the exercise is simply don't enjoy it, but it's laziness. So I just need to get into it. And the way to do it, I did read a book that I love, which was Atomic Habits. Mm-hmm. Absolutely loved it. And I remember in the book, and it's a lot about sport, the way he tells the story. I don't know if you have read it, but he does says that when you want to implement new habits, you need to help yourself. And sometimes he was like, going to the gym might just be getting off the bed, driving to the gym or walking to the gym and just getting there. That might be do that for 1 week. Just don't even have to do the exercise. Just get to the gym. And then maybe the next time you might do 15 minutes of some type of machines or just walking. Well, I do walk a little with my dog, but proper exercise and the bone strength, do a little bit of that. And if you start, it's the compound effect. It's that 1% starts to become a larger impact into your life. So maybe this is an opportunity with the Limitless Equation to commit to this exercise. I love it. This feels like a confession.
Yeah.
Well, but I like it because I think I need to talk more about it. It probably makes me much more accountable.
You said before that you used to be someone that could work really late and not sleep.
Yeah.
And now you're someone that invests in sleep.
Yes.
What
loads.
changed? How did you overcome that?
Being exhausted and listening to people that I really admire, how they put so much effort in their sleep. I remember even when Steve Bartlett was here in Australia, and someone asked him, what is the one thing you wouldn't compromise amongst everything else? And I think people were going to answer about how to buy companies, how to invest in companies, how to hire people. And he went, the number one thing I will never compromise is my sleep, because without it, I cannot do anything else. And I think that notion of understanding it, and when you start to do it, when you start to sleep and rest and stop and really disconnect, you feel the difference right away. And I know what I'm saying is not rocket science. Everyone will go, yeah, well, we all know that. I think it's the habit of changing your habits, your bad habits, to good habits, and then seeing the impact in your life. That's when you go, oh my God, why didn't I do this before? Yeah. Right? But it doesn't matter. This is when we were talking about it, your different lives, and live your life to the fullest. And yes, there will be things that you could have done better. But the main thing is not why I didn't do it for the first 50 years. I'm just going to enjoy it for the rest, because it's going to make me feel better.
Yeah. You mentioned wanting to go to Europe. Let's say 5 years from now, you're going to be in Europe. You're going to be working at your current company, and you're living your best life, and maybe one of your kids is coming over to say hi. When you envisage that, do you see that impacted if you carry on not exercising and don't work on your bone density? Like if you see someone who leaves the Limitless Equation podcast today and says, right, enough is enough. I've done all the research. You obviously love researching about this stuff. Like I've done the atomic habits. I've been to the doctors. I know what I need to do. That's another way we avoid, right? Yeah. We think we're making progress with it because we're kind of like ticking things off the list that aren't actually just taking action. Like you're doing all the things around it. It's like a form of avoidance with it.
Yeah.
It's like, I must go and buy loads of gym gear. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, have you done that
I
one?
did that at some point, but I don't do anymore.
Yeah. So we do that. But like, if you say, right, I'm leaving the Limitless Equation today, and as of today, I'm going to take an action, which is to get towards improving my bone density, because I know that's important to me. If you think the version of you that walks out of here and commits to that and is in Europe in 5 years, what does that woman look like, and what is that woman doing versus the woman that goes to Europe that carries on living the way she is now?
Such a good question. It's funny because when you asked that, I immediately thought the woman that is sitting here today feels it's going to be fine, because I feel good today, right? This is a good day, I guess. I'm feeling brilliant. So I thought, well, you asked me that, I think in 5 years, and I only have actually one daughter, my beautiful daughter, Isabella. So just thinking of Izzy, right? When you have kids, you feel so committed to be there for as long as you can, look after them, right? That's one big driver of this. But my immediate answer is like, how I felt was, I'm going to be great. The truth of the matter is the older we get, the more attention we have to pay to our bodies. That's just science proven, right? So the reality is, if I don't do exercise, I'm not going to be better. That's guaranteed. This is not possible, right? Like literally impossible. But if I do it, highly likely is either going to stay like I am today, feeling good, doing the things that I get to do. And if I don't do it, I think definitely, as I said, I feel my bones would gonna continue to get weaker.
So I wrote down, before you just said, I'm going to be okay, and I've written it down twice, so I just wrote it down again then, positivity bias. I actually think one of the reasons that you're not exercising is we have a negativity bias towards everything, right? So like we worry about, if we're told some news, we catastrophize, we make it the worst case scenario. Whereas when it comes to our health, we have a positivity bias. It's the only thing we have. We think we're immortal. We think we're never going to die. And that's why we chase things and we don't live a life necessarily in alignment. I wrote down, before you even said, I thought I'm going to be okay, I was like, I'm doing this on purpose because she's got a positivity bias in this area, that she thinks she's invincible in this space. Yeah. And I think what I really want you to, and we won't do this now, but what I really want you to do is spend some time connecting with the reality of what it would look like if you didn't, like spend some time journaling and really deeply connecting with the feeling of, if I don't do this, let's go 10 years from now, my daughter is running ahead of me and I can't keep up, and that would break your heart, right? Yeah, so I need you to connect with that opportunity cost if you do and don't do it, because at the moment I think whenever we make change, I love the way that you said you were honest with your sleep, and you said, I was exhausted, so I had to, right? You had to break.
Yeah.
Right? You had to break for then your body to go, I need sleep.
Yeah.
I worry with you because of this positivity bias. You won't do anything about this until you break. Like, I've spoken very openly.
Until I break something, right?
Yeah.
Yes. You're so right. You are so right. And it's how we feel at the moment. Even though I've seen a lot of illness around close to me, my brother, my dad, many people, my best friend that I just mentioned, it happens to the healthiest of people. People get sick. But when you're told, like, you have to do this, and my doctor is wonderful, by the way, I think it's on me. And that's the one thing, is that it's not on anybody else. Nobody can do it for me. That's the sad part of this. Now, it's not like you have a friend that you can call. I have actually friends that I go like, will you go? Yes. You know that you will have a friend that will come with me and do the exercise. Even my husband. But it's on me. No one will drive this agenda. And I think we should reflect on that on anything else. Like, for me, it's health, but whatever it is in your life, like, can be your career, your personal life, your relationships, anything that you know is setting you apart from where you want to go, is you're the only person that is in charge of that.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of beginning a pep talk to myself.
Yeah, that's what you need to do.
Chloe.
But the word avoidance, right? The word avoidance and shame, they're the words that I want you to reflect on when you come out of this, because that is what is keeping you stuck from not doing it. And I want you to apply the same feeling of exhaustion and breaking down. I want you to, like, feel that in your body, but apply it to exercise of, like, my future self really needs me to do this. Like, Naysla needs to look after future Naysla right now. And I want you to connect with how, I'm going to be a bit cruel, how disappointed and angry with yourself you will be if you listen to this podcast back in 10 years' time and you go, I knew it. You'll hear your own voice telling you,
oh my gosh,
and go, I didn't do it. You'll just have that feeling of, like, sickening feeling in your body. And I want you to connect with that. And I think that's the thing that's going to shift your identity and go, I thought I was someone that didn't sleep very well, but now I sleep brilliantly. I'm capable of anything. I'm going to do this, and apply that same to the exercise. You've already said atomic habits. So what is your commitment? I'm putting you on the spot here, because this is going to be recorded. And it's going to go out to all your friends and family.
Commitment now here.
Yeah. So what is your commitment? And do you want to commit? And why do you want to commit? You know?
Yeah, I do wanna commit to at least that, like, once a week.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's so possible. There are so many other things, think outside work, that I do once a week, that I put myself to do it. But because I really enjoy, like, learning languages, or many other things that I do once a week because I love them. This has to be one of those things that I can do once a week. I start there. I might become, I doubt it, but I might get to a point that I really enjoy it. And I listen to my colleagues, and goodness me, that I'm surrounded with people that does exercise, pretty much everyone in my team. As I said, my husband, my daughter, and everyone feels great after the exercise, right? Like, a lot of people say, I just couldn't go through a day without doing exercise. I couldn't be myself. I listen to that and go, wow. So some people actually live for this kind of feeling great and exercise and their body. For me, it will be exactly what we just said, is live a longer life where health, as I prioritize it, is going to be a critical part of living that life to the fullest.
I think you should make that your word of the year, health. You know,
Health.
Do you already have a word of the year?
No,
I always have a word of the year. I think your word of the year should be health. I went through, like 2 years ago, my word of the year was, I made every decision based on, is this good for my mental health? And that was really game changing for me. And I think for you, this is your year of physical health, and, like, how you're going to, like, really invest in you and give back to you, because you deserve to, right?
Absolutely. I love it. I think we will have to get together again in 1 year. Well, we'll see each other before.
We will.
And you're going to ask me in Cairns, probably.
Absolutely.
Naysla, what's happening with this? And we're going to the gym today.
But on that,
yes.
going to the gym, when you say exercise, because you've got to...
No, but I do need to do the bone strength.
Yeah.
That's the priority.
Okay.
So I think we need to be more pointy about what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, it's not really around fitness and flat tummy or whatever.
Yeah.
It really is about my bones. That has to be prioritized above anything else.
So it's strength training.
So walking, for example, it's not an option. That probably could be easy. I could just walk a little bit longer with my beautiful dog, Daisy. So, but that's not an option. That's not going to strengthen. I have to, there is actually a routine that I need to do to strengthen my bones.
Okay. So you're committing to once a week.
Strengthening.
And we're on, what day is it today? It's Wednesday, but this will be going live on a Tuesday. Let's pretend it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. What day are you going to commit to doing that for me this week?
Oh my God, Chloe. Seriously, I didn't expect this
So
today.
I didn't either, but the minute,
oh my God.
do you know what it is? I can't help myself. The minute I hear people use language like I'm avoiding it, I can't help but be like, this is the thing that's going to change your life. This is the thing, when we talk about pursuit of happiness, this is the thing that's you're going to look back at this in a year and go, I did it. And I'm really proud of myself.
So what I've been thinking about, look at me here, this confession time. It's my husband tends to cycle on Sunday mornings, and Izzy tends to, that's kind of the one day that she doesn't have something at school or activities or sports, like kind of her morning.
Yeah.
So everybody takes it very, very easy. John goes with his cycle. I was thinking, and that was the plan, to go on a Sunday.
Okay, great.
And do this exercise. 30 minutes. I generally doesn't have to be more than 30 minutes. That's it. So Sunday, come start this Sunday.
Yeah.
Start. It might not be the full 30 minutes, but just go get familiar with the machines, the routine, the exercise that I need to do, and then start from there.
Yeah, they say with things like that, like, you know, don't say to yourself, I'm going to do the full 30 minutes. They say like, right, go and say, right, I'm just going to make it to the gym today. And then the second day, I'm just going to make it and I'm going to do 10 minutes. And they say just like ease into it, because sometimes it can feel so overwhelming. And that's when we avoid, right? Because you're like, oh God, I have never done this. I don't identify as this. And all of a sudden I've got all this to do. So I completely respect your approach.
Like, you hate it so much that you stop. And actually that's what happened to me. This, like when I started at the beginning of the year, and after I saw the doctor and told me about the bone density, I started it, but then I pushed myself so hard, I pulled a muscle. And it was actually quite scary because I had to travel to Melbourne. It was the Australian Open. And I never forget, and I called John, I'm like, I feel really unwell. He's like, you pull a muscle, relax. But I didn't enjoy it. So I think I need to start in a way that actually I'm not going to hurt myself, firstly, that I'm going to enjoy, and that exactly what I said before, that compound effect. Like little steps, the 1%, and then you become much better when you combine all that effort.
I love that. And try and make it so that you know, we started this podcast with, you're all about connection and building relationships with people. I try and make it as Naysla focused as possible, right? Like make it so that on your way there, you kind of like, you know, you'll smile at 3 people, or you're like, bring in parts of it that you love. Like, you know, if I was you, I wouldn't be going to the gym. I'd be doing weights. I'd be doing strength classes, because you're not going to be someone that enjoys that isolation and, you know, standing there on the weights. No, but a class where you're walking in and you're saying hello and you're doing a strength class, you're going to find that a lot less intimidating. And when it comes to exercise, we've got to do the things that are going to make us happy, because otherwise we're going to continue to avoid them.
That's so true. I can do it. I love dancing. I could do a dancing class, a samba class or a salsa class or whatever. Like I'm from Colombia. Music and dancing is, we're born dancing. So I could do that. No problem. That wouldn't even feel like exercise. I can go out dancing. I will dance, absolutely. But this is what I'm saying is, the exercise that I need to do is quite specific.
But strength training classes, right? That's what I do. I go to a class. There's a group that we've all got the bars.
Yeah, what you're saying is do it in a group.
Do it in a group.
You're not
do it in a class.
You like people around.
I'm too needy.
Brings the energy.
Yeah.
100%. Like how boring to be by myself there. Yes, I completely
I would
agree.
never go to a gym.
So help yourself, right? Put yourself in a position that is going to give you the greatest success, because you know these elements work with you.
Self-awareness,
I
right?
completely
Know
agree
yourself.
with you.
Like what, you know, you're a connection person. You know, you like being around people. You are going to find it so intimidating to go and stand in a gym for 30 minutes. But there's strength training classes everywhere for women like us everywhere now these days. It used to be kind of like, you know, like the back section of the gym where the men used to go, and you'd be terrified to go over to that section. Like now we're becoming more aware of the importance of us getting stronger and looking after our bones and looking after our bodies. So we're in a beautiful country that allows us to do that. Like find one that's going to work for you. Sorry that this has turned into such a...
This is I love it. I was thinking of my friend Catalina. She's going to laugh when she listens to this podcast, because she's actually been the one that I'm like, let's go. I go there every day. She does it every day. She does exercise, lots of different things, goes to the same gym I can go. So she will be like, oh my God, Naida, seriously, did you have to go to a podcast and talk to Chloe in front of everybody? I'm doing this. And I'm like, probably that's what I needed.
That's what you needed.
And so she's going to have a laugh. I'm going to have a laugh for you. Maybe after that, a glass of wine later in the evening to celebrate.
Enjoy. Yeah, celebrate. I love that. So text me on Sunday because you're going to do this.
God,
text
this
me on
is totally
Sunday.
Commitment. Okay.
Yeah, total commitment. You.
I feel like I now have really not have to do it now.
Yeah, you do. And I want you to, when you do it, the most important thing you can do is not do it because I've forcing you to text me. I want you to do it because I really just want you to connect with that, why it's important.
No, I know.
Why?
And the multiplied effect, what really this means for me. This is not something that will just make you a little bit happier. This is truly transformational. So I agree. Completely agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you always turn your podcast
No.
into someone having to commit to something?
It's only
I'm feeling very unique here.
No, you're not. There's probably been about 2 other people that this has happened with. But the minute I see someone avoiding something, I can't help myself because I get excited. Like off the back of the event that we did, I've had so many women reach out. Like people have been like, I've left my husband, or like I've quit my job, or I've just got a promotion, or I've just asked for a pay rise. Like this kind of work is all about what's the thing that you're avoiding? Why are you avoiding it? And I can't help myself.
And the positive thing of this, which I think is probably sounds quite unique, is I'm not leaving anything or quitting anything. I'm actually going to start something new. So that's quite exciting, right? So I'm all in.
Love it. Well, I'll speak to you on Sunday.
My God, you're going to call me on Sunday.
Yeah, you're not getting away with this. You've got to have an accountability buddy.
I have to send you a photo.
Yeah, please do. I would love to end this podcast on asking you who your limitless woman is that you would like to celebrate.
Chloe, that is such a difficult question to answer because there is so many women in my life that truly represent what the Limitless Equation tries to bring to all of us. But today, I'm just going to mention my leader. Her name's Corina, and she's just one of the most extraordinary women I met. And she's really top of mind because, as I said before, we have days that we are in a high and feeling super good, and there are days that are not. And I just recently, I was feeling a little bit like out of place and not great. And every time, without a question, every time I go and see her and talk to her, I just feel great. And when someone that has that power on you, that you just need to go and sit with this person and makes you see and feel, value, see things in a different way. I leave head office or wherever we talk, just feeling completely like sunshine. And look, I wish everyone in the world had that superpower. I'm sure many people has it for other people, but she has that power. And it's not the only woman, but she's just incredible in the way, incredibly intelligent, driving a very complex business, but the most amazing, warm, sympathetic, resilient leader that, makes you feel like 100% every time, and everyone around me. So she's today my woman I want to call out in my life.
Thank you so much. I'm sure you are that sunshine for many people as well. Thank you so much. I feel like I've got so many more questions, but we didn't get there.
The exercise.
Next time, 1 year from now.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for all the conversations you are having with such amazing women, because they all lift us, and it's a great listening when you are doing exercise.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, darling.